Likely or
The salinity will rise up.
we raise up
Yeah,
because of the
because-
waste and also the
No,
something that
actually, there's a lot of factors that why salinity
Goes up, yeah.
rise up, because salt will stay
salt.
as a salt. If there's an evaporation and everything, those salt will not come with the evaporation, so it will stay in the water.
Good afternoon, Joseph, and thank you for granting us the opportunity for the interview here at the aquarium. Sorry, the Angkor Wildlife and Aquarium, Joseph. Sir, so you are the let's say the specialist in maintaining the saltwater tank
Yes.
At the aquarium.
Yes.
And also at the aquarium, you also have the freshwater tank,
Yes.
Joseph. But at the same time, because the aquarium is focused on the Tonle Sap lake, which is a freshwater system. But here you also have the saltwater system. So
Yes.
My first question is that why do you need to include the saltwater environment in this premises?
Ocean is a larger water in the world, right? So it's a part of the ecosystem, and then we have those different kind of fish. Salt are needed also in the some of the land and everything. Life is very important. So from freshwater to saltwater, we need to understand those both ecosystem, how they interact, what are their relationship for the for the environment.
But how do they interact? Because one live deeper in the mainland and the other in the marine, let's say, environment, Joseph.
Actually, they interact what we call in the brackish water. So those brackish water are mostly the small fish living inside there. So
You mean like the place where the salt water and fresh water
yes,
meet each other?
Each other. So yeah, and also there's some of the species that need to survive with fresh water, and including the breeding. So some of the animals need to go to the fresh water and then give birth and then go back to the sea. So that's what and then of course vice versa with the fresh water.
Yes, Joseph. But you said that in the in reality, the real environment, sometimes the freshwater animal can also interact with the saltwater animal. But here, Joseph, at Angkor Aquarium, do they also interact with each other, or the tanks are separate normally?
The tanks are separate, totally separate. But of course, during the treatment, if we need to do some treatment for the freshwater, we need to put some salt also in the freshwater, and then vice versa also with the saltwater. So this we called it osmoregulation for they need to have salt also in their body.
Even though the freshwater animal,
Yes.
they need some salt in there. So the salt that they get is not always it's not always from their diet.
Yes.
It can also be from the water themselves.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, but Joseph, because you said that the ocean is a very big place. For example, Tonle Sap, I think it is. From my perspective, of course, maybe it is a bit easier because Tonle Sap is a smaller basin compared to the ocean, and the animal over there, the number of species is also lower than the entire ocean. So if you were to introduce the marine species here, like what kind of marine species do you pick? How do you choose something from an entire ocean so that you can, put as a collection here, let's say?
Actually, it's more on the schooling fish. So marine fish, we have those herbivores, omnivores, and then the carnivorous fish. So to balance all those, we will put some shark here, and then we can introduce some pompanos or the schooling fish, then the small ones that live in the corals. So that's how you balance also the ecosystem for this kind of environment.
But so the fish here are from the ocean around Cambodia or Southeast Asia, or do you have any?
Southeast Asia.
very far away fish from, let's say, South America or North
Actually,
America?
our nurse sharks
Yes.
came from Africa.
Africa?
Yes,
Oh.
as I heard. Yes.
So they can live with each other, no problem. I mean, you don't disturb their
yes.
food web, food change or
We
something
need
like
to
that.
adjust some feeding. We need to make sure that those carnivorous fish are eating properly. They because if we will not, they will start to hunt those small fishes. So yeah, that's the one of the how we do the adjustment for them.
And yes, Mr. Joseph, like for example, I mean, this is like also something that I don't really understand right now. So they are picking something. So what are they doing here, Mr. Joseph? Like this
this one?
particular work, yes.
Yeah, we're inspecting something here, and then you see some dirt. We are planning to, redesign for easier maintenance for the divers also.
So this work is like a daily routine for the divers in the
yes,
aquarium.
it's a daily routine for the cleaning. So we need to do those daily maintenance that we need to remove those excess food, feces, the poop of the fish every day. So our bacteria will not also always in balance. So yeah.
So normally the waste of the fish does not always flow to the top and then be collected by the filtration system.
Mostly it go down to the
bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that substrate will be the one to start to collect them, and then we are doing some vacuuming or siphoning out to help us to remove those dirt or excess food. So the surface probably about 30% of the waste. Mostly the oil is the one that.
The oil that comes from the waste.
From the
food?
waste, yes.
The food, the waste.
Actually,
and
we call
also
it protein.
protein.
Yes, the
okay.
protein will float, if you can see, and then that will start to do skimming from the
The filtration system.
going to the filtration, and then it will be collected by the protein skimmers. So those, if we will go inside back of the house, I can introduce you to those protein skimmers that help us to remove those before they absorbed by the water and then became ammonia.
Oh,
Yeah.
So if you don't remove the protein from the surface of the water and also the waste from the bottom of the water will become toxic.
Yes, there will be an imbalance of the nitrogen cycle. So it will be always the ammonia will kill the fish. So it starts always from the ammonia.
So they can get sick and then they can possibly die at some point.
So their immune, if the environment always imbalance, so the fish will get stressed. They will not die directly, but
They will get sick over time. Yeah.
yes, they will sick. They get stressed, and then slowly the immune system will drop, and then they start to get worse on that area. But that's why we need to do those cleanings and everything to help them remove those unwanted particles in the water.
Yes, Mr. Joseph. But again, I mean, because you are currently recreating an artificial sea, which is, by nature, an ocean is a very, very complex system. It involves oxygen, salinity, temperature, pressure, and many other stuff. So how do you recreate, let's say, a small ocean in-house? Like, what are the things that you need? For example, starting from the very basic question, like how do you make the water salty in the first place?
Actually, we buy a formulated salt.
Salt. So not table salt at home, no.
No, it's not a table salt or anything. This is actually designed for aquariums. Really. So they formulated this with all those minerals that we need for the water, including the minerals that needed by the fish. So this we will mix up with the fresh water itself.
So the fresh water from
From
the
fresh
tap,
water, yes.
Yeah, from the tap, no, like normal fresh water.
Tap water, yes, and then we will do some treatment first for the fresh water before we mix up the salt. And then after that, we need to measure everything from water parameters, the temperature, ammonia, nitrite, to make sure that we are not introducing those harmful bacteria inside this the aquarium. So there's a lot of checking before we do the transfer of the water.
Yes,
the new
Mr.
water.
Joseph. But for example, the salinity compared to the ocean, is it let's say a lot cleaner than the ocean, or you prefer like to be like at some
Here,
point of the ocean?
Yeah, yeah. Of course, ocean is
It's a very big place. Yeah.
big place. So we cannot compare the environment there. But for here, we have a lot of filtration system that help us to copy the ocean. So as long as we know that those bacteria are balanced, so we are sure that our stock also are healthy, and the water will be this clean.
Yes, Mr. Joseph. But the salinity, for example, over time they become, let's say, decrease in their strength, and you need to add more salt periodically, or
the salinity will rise up.
We raise up,
Yeah,
because of the waste and also the
No,
something that
actually, there's a lot of factors that why salinity
Goes up, yeah.
rise up, because salt will stay
salt.
as a salt. If there's an evaporation and everything, those salt will not come with the evaporation, so it will stay in the water. And then that's why in the how they make the salt, they dry up the salt water.
Yes.
And then they collect those salt. So that's why of course increasing those numbers of salt will also increase the salinity from the water. So daily checking of those water parameters is needed. Once we see the imbalance already, we need to adjust those parameters back to itself, our recommended parameters.
Yes,
So-
Mr. Joseph. Yes. But just another question, because I know that actually the process is much more complex than that. But sometimes I wonder if the ocean already support life and the water over there, more or less, salty enough for the fish to live happily. Like, would it be more practical or more feasible to just like transfer, tanks of salt water from the ocean and then dump it to the tank here? Why don't you do that?
Because it will also disrupt the environment. So extracting water from the natural is not good also.
But you have an ocean full of salt water, let's say.
Yes. It's not practical. So there's an law that we need to do some. There's other countries that have law that you need to regulate those extraction of water from the ocean, and then from other same as the fresh and salt water. So it will have an effect on the nature actually.
You mean the nature inside the indoor tank, or the nature at the
Outside.
Outside.
Outside, yeah.
Okay.
It's the natural environment already, so it will. And then actually, so from the ocean, you need a lot of treatment to do, because there's more bacteria on that ocean.
So the ocean is not always as clean as the tank
Yes.
that you treat it
Yes.
here. No.
So you will introduce those parasites that living in those environment. The fish have the big area to live in, so they can go anywhere where they like.
So they can escape danger.
Yes.
They can escape
Yes.
dirtier water.
If
but
they
here?
don't like the water, they will travel somewhere else and
I see.
then come back again if the water is safe already. So but here we are a closed environment. They don't have any choice but to just swim around our aquarium. So we need to balance those. We need to make sure to maintain those parameters always in good condition for them to survive.
Yes, sir. So basically, bringing ocean water and then just put it here. First of all, it's not practical,
Yes.
and second, it's not really good for the fish themselves to live.
Yes.
Also.
You need a lot of treatment to do before you transfer it to this aquarium, and then of course 6 hours from the ocean is traveling to here is not good also. It's more expensive.
Oh. And Joseph, yes, because let's say saltwater animal can be a bit, let's say, unfamiliar to most Cambodian people because our main let's say animal species live in the freshwater.
Yes.
And our main fish species. So can you tell us a bit like what are the fish species here that you import from far away? Let's say you mentioned Africa.
Yeah.
And what are the species that live around Cambodia or Southeast Asian water?
Mostly we buy we get fish from Vietnam, Indonesia, and Africa. So mostly they are more on the shark species. So this pompano came from Indonesia.
Oh.
Yeah. But this is actually they do for aquaculture. This type of species.
Aquaculture.
Yeah,
You mean they raise it for food?
Yes.
Oh.
So this is more on the we introduce this so people can see, understand. These fish are not all came from the wild. Some of the fish came from aquaculture. Those shark, I'm not really familiar with the history, but I know they came from the facility where they breed those sharks.
So most of the saltwater animal here are actually not really wild.
Yes,
as
not really.
the deep ocean animal.
Yes,
no,
yeah.
no.
Yes.
Because is it hard to get a deep ocean animal to put it here?
It's not really practical because when you catch those animals, there's a lot of consideration that we need to do. So first of all, the outside is a lot of bacteria, a lot of parasite. Second, it's very hard. It's very hard for them to
to adjust to the new environment.
From the new environment, especially from the source of the aquarium trade. Yeah.
So most of the animal here they live in the sunlight zone and the twilight zone, something like that.
Yeah, these are already mixed. Some of them live in pelagic, which we call the ocean floor. Most of them live in the coral reefs, and then some of them live in the shorelines. So shallow reef and then deep.
So basically, this animal can be seen on the
Yes.
the surface level of the ocean.
Yes.
So they are not really
different depth of water.
Yes, Mr. Joseph. But before I saw, I think on that side of the tank, of course, there's a very big shark, or maybe more than one shark. I think, like a very long one, slender one.
This nurse shark normally they stay in the reef.
They stay in the reef.
Yes, but of course the depth is depends on them. Normally this you can see from the around 30 meters. You can see them.
But
they go up. Yeah, they go up also from the reef to hunt some food, and then go back to the deep. So these are normally their natural behavior.
Yes, Mr. Joseph. But again, when you transport this fish, but I mean the small one, I don't think it's a big deal because you can put it in a smaller container, on a smaller truck. But how about, for example, the shark? Like it's very long and very heavy. So how? First of all, like how do you transport them, make them comfortable on the journey, and also before you put them on the tank, like what are the procedure that you need to do to adjust?
Actually, the first thing that you need to do is to check the animal.
To check the animal.
Yeah. You need to know the species of animals. Shark have 2 two types of shark. That shark that can stay from the bottom, and shark that always swim.
So,
Yeah,
so for example,
you-
the great white shark, they always swim.
Yes.
They don't stay at the bottom.
Yeah, if they start to not to swim, they will start to suffocate and die.
Oh, because they need the water to go through their gill all the time.
All the time, because they as fish, they don't have those
Breathing lung.
swim bladder. So these fish have swim bladder. They can continue on swimming, balance to make them buoyant in the water. But those fish, they need to suck the oxygen from the water. Actually, they need to suck the water to extract those oxygen from the gill.
So it cannot stay still.
Yes.
I mean, compared to the freshwater species, some of them,
yeah.
they stay very, very still. So, for example, this shark,
Yes.
but in particular, Mr. Joseph, like that one, is also staying still. So
Yes, they have the ability to suck up the water from their mouth. So some fish, they don't have those ability.
And okay, so the first one you need to know about the fish, and then
Yes.
what are the next procedures?
The next procedure, of course, you need to prepare the tank, the length of the tank, the size. Of course, you need to condition also the water. So those water, you need also to check the oxygen, everything, oxygen, ammonia, nitrate, the parameters that normally affect the fish. But mostly ammonia is and pH is the one you need. Then ORP, dissolved oxygen, the DO. So those three parameters are mostly important on doing the transport.
So the transport you need to monitor like every second of the journey.
Not really every second, but you need at least every hour. You need to check those parameters to make sure that they are still in the good range during the transport.
But when they are confined in a space, as small as a container like that, I mean, do they freak out like human or any other animal, or they just like, okay,
As long as you cover the tank, as long as they stay in the dark, they normally stay still.
So they don't feel stressed, or maybe I mean, how do you actually know the emotion of the fish, for example?
Actually, from their swimming and then their breathing, normally we always check the breathing and then
you mean like the motion of their
yes,
gill?
Same as human. If we get stressed, we get more on the breathing routine. The what they call the labor breath.
Yeah.
Something like that. But in normal, you have how many breath?
Like breath per second, per minute, something like that.
Because
So
we cannot pulse them. We cannot pulse them, so we count from the gill. How frequent they open the gills. That's how we monitor. Some people have other techniques, have other ability to check, but normally that's the basic one, because that's the first thing that you will see in the fish, the breathing and then the swimming.
If they stay still, it doesn't mean that they
yes,
are
because it depends on the
species.
the
also.
species. Yeah. For shark that mostly don't swim, they will stay still as long as they are in the dark environment, cold dark environment, and then as long as those dissolved oxygen they getting, they will not feel stress.
And before you put them in the tank here, I mean, you also put them in a intermediate tank to see their health, and I mean, how do you adjust to the new environment, for example?
Once they arrive here, we will do some quarantine procedure. So
like basic.
We will do the
procedure,
acclimatization for. It depends on the water parameters, how high or how low the water parameters from the tank that we will transfer them. Sometimes it will reach around 1 hour to 2 hours, just to balance those parameters, and then that's the time we will transport the fish, and then mostly we always recommend 7 to 14 days
outside the main tank.
outside the main exhibit. So 7 to 14 days, we monitor the fish, feeding, the health. So we will do some treatment if necessary. But yeah, after we will introduce them to the main exhibit. But of course, those 7 to 14 days, it still depends on the fish. So if the fish still not eating, we will not transfer them to the big tank.
So when they don't feel good, fish normally do not eat.
We will not. Yes, if they still feel stressed, we're not going to transfer them to the tank.
Yes, Mr.